You know, I've recently been reminded of all of your banter, chit-chat, propaganda, your ranting. Let's go with ranting.
Propaganda and titles that I need to work and think about what I'm saying.
Well, I would... Your propaganda / ranting about the oversaturation, the onslaught of content from the MCU.
Ah, yes, that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm pretty steadfast on that lately.
You are. And I was thinking about it, particularly going into to watching this movie. And I was maybe going into the movie, I was maybe unfairly holding that against it, and was also holding against it. Look, I'm not gonna. If I were to sit here right now and tell you that I don't like the first Black Panther, then I would be setting myself up for all kinds of hate and ridicule. But I would also be lying. I don't dislike the first Black Panther. I think it's fine. I think it's a perfectly serviceable and good entry in the MCU. But yep, I also would in many ways sort of equate it to how I feel about Avatar, which is, it's a good movie, it's a fine movie, but I just don't get the craze. Like, I never...
The hype train hyped it.
Yeah, I was never... Like, I understood that there was, like, a bunch of political stuff. It was an African-American-led superhero film, and that was a big deal, and it dealt with a lot of topics that were important to certain communities, and that was a big deal. But I just never... I didn't walk out of it with the same kind of like, oh my God, this is the most important, greatest, fantastic, amazing thing from the MCU that a lot of my friends had. So I also walked into this movie with that kind of working against it.
No, yeah, I'd say I'm on the exact same page as you.
Yeah,
with the first movie and with this one. Yeah,
yeah.
It didn't have a lot of goodwill going in. We'll say.
But hello and welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
To the Movie Men podcast.
The B team. That's
Carl.
This is Brady.
And we're here reviewing Black Panther 2. Wakanda Forever. This should go without saying, but look, we are going to spoil the schism out of this film. So if you have not seen it and care about spoilers, then maybe go see it and then come listen. If you have not seen it and you don't care about spoilers, maybe seek medical and professional help. Something's wrong with you. I'm just going to come out and say it.
You should know better.
If you have seen it and you're looking for a discussion, you want to hear other people weigh in on it, people who are pretty big comic book / MCU / nerdy guys, then I would say you've stumbled into the right place.
I would agree.
Yeah. So
far we're on the same page. Maybe this will continue. Maybe it will diverge.
Let's get into it. So we'll start with initial impressions. Which, if you're new to the show, our initial impressions is something we do before we do a review. And it's literally just like a 30 to 60 second, sort of stating, it's your opening argument. It's sort of stating, what is your stance on this film and in this review? And then we'll spend the rest of the review kind of like unpacking those stances. So like I said, I did not see the first Black Panther in theaters. It was like the only MCU film that I did not see in theaters. Not because I wasn't interested. Honestly, the first Black Panther, me not seeing it in theaters was like purely a scheduling issue. After Black Panther showed up in Civil War, I was actually quite interested in the first the first Black Panther movie. I just could not, for whatever reason, I could not get around to going to see it. And so I didn't see it for like a year after it first came out. And when it did come out, when I did see it, I was like, okay, this is like, you know, like I said, it's fine, it's good. But I think it was overhyped for me, and as a result, fell flat. So, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is the first MCU film that I went to see in the theaters that I wasn't excited for. I wasn't like dreading it, but I was just completely neutral. I was like, it's a movie I got to go see for the podcast. But I wasn't like, I didn't have that. Even Eternals, I had like excitement for. I was like, oh, this is exciting. Like, what is this going to be? But I think that this interestingly and maybe ironically placed Black Panther in this really unique position. Whereas all these other films, I feel like, you know, quite often lately, especially in phase 4 of the MCU, I've been going to the theater, high expectations, really excited. And not all of the time, but a good chunk of the time, unfortunately, I've walked out a little underwhelmed compared to what my hopes and expectations have been. I went into Black Panther with none of that, which placed it in this unique position where it couldn't really let me down. It was either going to be, I wasn't excited for it and I didn't get anything out of it, or I was going to go into it, I was going to come out of it going, I wasn't excited for it, but that was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed that. And my initial impression is that I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed this film more than I thought I was going to. I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed the first Black Panther, which is very interesting because obviously Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed away and is not in this film, so we don't have T'Challa. And spoiler alert, Black Panther doesn't actually show up in this film until the final act. But I enjoyed it much more than I enjoyed the first one, much more than I expected to enjoy it. And although there are some things I'll talk about that were issues,
always got some issues.
I all in all, this is going to be, I think, mostly a positive review for me, anyway, subjectively. So, what about you, Carl? What are your initial? You went to go see this movie. What are your initial impressions?
So, Black Panther 1, I had, like I said, kind of similar opinions probably about it that you did. So going into this one, kind of probably a similar mindset. I have a problem with legacy characters in comics, which doesn't help this film.
Explain what you mean by a legacy character.
A legacy character in comics is something that's happened in the last, 20 years, last 10, 20 years, where they take a A-list character like Iron Man and they feel like they've written all the stories or whatever for Iron Man. So they need to create a new character. But Iron Man sells comics. So let's make Iron Man 2.0, but it's a different person. So let's come up with Ironheart. And
I have an interesting question for you.
I have issues with legacy characters. I don't think they're as well thought out, well rounded. This isn't like written in stone. There are legacy characters that kind of find their own what's the word I'm looking for? They find their own voice. They find their own personality and persona.
I think you just answered my question.
I feel like they're never as interesting as the original.
Right.
So they always fall flat.
So my question was going to be, is like, first of all, I was going to use a character as an example and ask if you considered them a legacy character, but I think without a doubt they are. But then I was going to ask, does that mean you think that this character falls flat? But I think you just answered my question in that there are some exceptions, and that Terry McGinnis's Batman Beyond is probably one of those exceptions.
Yes. I would say the Batman Beyond would be an exception. Miles
because also
Morales, Spider-Man
Bruce is still
would
there.
be an exception. So
yeah,
there are exceptions that kind of there are legacy characters that stand head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think most of them kind of suffer from either being in the shadow of the original, or just not being, because they're trying to make them like the original. They suffer from not having as good a story because you can't give them the exact same story.
Right.
You know, origins, like an origin story is pivotal to a character.
Right.
And Iron Man's origin story is hundreds of times more interesting and much more, there's more depth to it than Riri Williams, who's just smart and built an Iron Man suit because she saw Iron Man.
So, okay, so reeling you back in from this tangent though, what is your overall opinion? Yay or nay is going to be your argument.
I enjoyed the film. I thought it was a good entry in.
Did you have some issues?
The Marvel franchise. I don't think it's the worst film ever. It's not a Thor 2. It's not Thor Love and Thunder. It's not.
Thor Love and Thunder was such a letdown. Not to get on a tangent, but like
it was a lot of fun. But it was like
follow-up to
90s
Ragnarok.
action movie fun where the rest of the Marvel universe isn't anything like that. So I enjoyed it because I love that 90s action feel to films, but it didn't work for a Marvel film. So overall it fell flat for me too. But so it's not the worst film in what Marvel has given us. It's probably not the worst film in Phase 4. But
definitely not.
It's not the best film in Phase 4, and it's definitely not the best because of that. It's obviously not the best film in the Marvel franchise bookshelf, the MCU. So
let's continue on talking about Riri Williams. I think that so I enjoyed the portrayal of Riri Williams. I thought the actor and like the character was fun. She was entertaining. Specifically, like even just as her, not when she was in the Ironheart suit. But all kind of like her introduction and her lab and her, like, you know, just kind of her quirkiness. Like that was fun. Yeah. I think that so for those who don't know, we are getting an Ironheart series coming to Disney Plus. So this was kind of their way to introduce her leading up to that series. And I'm hoping that, so like this, at the end of this film, Shuri kind of says like, you know, like, can't let you take this armor. Like it's wicked and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But like, you know, we got to keep this here. We can't send this home with you. I'm hoping that when the Ironheart series comes, we get, because I have no doubt, like, because we're getting Secret Wars at like sort of the culmination of Phase 6 or whatever it is, like obviously Ironheart and all these characters are going to be a part of that, right? She's going to play a bigger role at some point. I hope that this suit that we saw her in this film kind of stays in this film, is sort of the Mark 1 that stays here, and that in Ironheart we're going to see her sort of refine the design and come up with a new suit. Because you know, it was first of all, it was cool to see someone in that like black background inside the helmet cam HUD thing again. That was fun. But it's just such a, like, I know the point was to make the suit look like a heart, but it's so bulky.
Yeah.
It's just a very bulky suit.
Yeah, the comics, I don't know what her early suits were in the comics, but I know a lot of the imagery that I've seen, it's more like a traditional Iron Man suit.
Yeah, she's got the pink and
the
but it's like
on the
pink and black,
chest.
Right?
But yeah, it's you just mentioned another beef I have with this film, and it was that line you just mentioned, like, I can't let you go home with this Wakanda tech. Did they not literally just give Sam, the new Captain America, a whole suit made of Wakanda tech?
Well, yeah, okay, like, but listen, there's a big difference. No.
The whole reason was they don't want vibranium leaving the country. They don't want their tech and their secrets getting out. And you've got two suits. One we can give to this American who's been part of the kind of the army and all that stuff, but we can't give it to this girl.
Okay, but hang on. Here's the thing though. Riri Williams, despite the effort that she put in here and how significant of a role that she played in this battle and so on and so forth, Sam has not only been Falcon up until this point. He is now Captain America. And he's an Avenger. And Riri Williams is, like, again, despite the role that she's played in this, she's just, I was about to say a dumb teenager, but she's like kind of the antithesis of dumb. But
she's a college student. She's not a teenager anymore, unless she went to college early.
Okay, well, you know what I mean. She's essentially a kid. She's a young adult from Chicago.
Yeah.
Who, aside from the role that she's played in this, they don't know from
Which
Adam.
Is major.
Well, it is major, but it's not like she's not an Avenger. So although I do see a hint of hypocrisy here, there is a difference between Sam Wilson and Riri Williams.
There is a difference. There's enough similarity that I take issue with the comment.
Okay, and that's fine.
I think it's ridiculous.
Regardless, I hope that when time comes for her to die coughing, I hope that when the time comes that she has her series and we see her fully don the mantle of Ironheart, that she redesigns this costume.
Absolutely.
That they don't somehow just like, they're not shipping it to Chicago from Wakanda, and that she redesigns it slimmer and sleeker and in that like pink and black that we know from the comics. And what I want to say is, so when this film ended, I had several comments. Brienne hates this. My girlfriend hates this. Well, get out of seeing a movie that, or just even sitting on the couch and watching a movie that is a movie that we're going to be reviewing for the podcast. And she'll say, so what'd you think? Or did you like it? Or, what are your thoughts? And she hates this because I always respond with, well, you'll have to listen to the podcast.
Wow, you're a dick.
Like, I am a total dick. I stay so tight-lipped about it. But I've come around and I've started giving her, some
impressions.
Nuggets. The first impressions. And one of the things that I did say was, I feel like there's an interesting dynamic with introducing Riri Williams in this movie, because those that don't, and interestingly, like obviously you were aware of this character, at least in some capacity, prior to this film.
Yeah, I haven't read any of her comics, but I've read synopsis of some storylines that involve her, and she's got some pretty cool storylines. But
they announced her series like 2 years ago at that shareholders meeting.
Yeah,
but I walked out of it and I said, like, the most interesting thing to me was, I was like, look, costume aside, Ironheart suit aside, I enjoyed the character. I thought it was a good setup. It's done its job in piquing my interest and upping my anticipation for the Ironheart series. But I think an issue that this film has, which is not so much an issue of the film, because I don't know how else they would have gone about this, but for people like you and me, we can sit and watch this film and go, okay, here's the introduction of Ironheart. Okay, interesting. This is what they're doing. This is a fun actor. This is where they're going to take it. We're aware of the character of Ironheart. For the layman MCU fan, for the average movie-going audience, for the person who doesn't know anything outside of what Marvel and Disney and Kevin Feige puts on the screen, they're going to look at this film and go, really? How lazy is that?
Yeah, which again brings up the issue of why legacy characters are flawed.
It's difficult, but I was, I'm looking at it going, like, the second Chicago popped up on the screen, I was like hitting Brienne in the arm because I knew what was coming. I was like, oh, Ironheart. Like, ooh, this they're going to do it. Because I heard whisperings. I think I was pretty aware that she was in this film.
Solidly confirmed. Like, I didn't, like most stuff, I tried to stay pretty clean from spoilers and trailers, but even I knew that Riri Williams was going to be in this film.
Yeah. But so I was, I'm like, okay, like, that's exciting. And that's a new character and it's someone for me to look forward to. And let's see where this goes. And I have been, if you've been listening to the Movie Men podcast for any amount of time, I have been pretty steadfast in my belief, especially now that we're dealing with the multiverse. Make no mistake, Chris Evans as Steve Rogers will be back. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark will be back. I don't know when. Are you
saying back as in, like, back in a cameo or back in a full role?
I don't know if it'll be a full role. I don't foresee them doing Secret Wars without them. So I don't know, but I think, I think one of the things that's missing from the MCU right now is MCU figureheads, which is what, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers were kind of the glue that held the MCU together up until this point, up until Endgame, and we haven't had them in Phase 4. And I think that Marvel's well aware that that's an issue. So I think they'll be back. I don't think they'll be back permanently. I don't think they'll necessarily be... Look, I've never been a fan of multiverse stuff. I'm taking it sort of in stride that that's what's happening right now. I think that multiverse is... The idea of doing multiverse stuff in comic books and film, I think it's lazy. I've always thought it was lazy writing, because as soon as you have the multiverse, then there are no consequences. Nothing matters. Oh, so and so dies. Well, we'll just bring in somebody else. We'll bring in Tony Stark from another universe. We'll bring in so and so from another universe. Like, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore as soon as you have the multiverse. So I'll be glad once we move on from the multiverse. I think they'll be back, and I think that Iron Man, I think that the dichotomy between Iron Man and Ironheart could be interesting. I am excited for her character, but like I said, I walked out of it and I was like, look, I think anyone who wasn't aware of the Ironheart character prior to now is just looking at this going, wow,
Iron Man knockoff 2.0.
Yeah, it's just you're just going to give us an Iron Man knockoff because you don't know what else to do, and you're like you were stupid and killed off Iron Man. Like, and I don't think that killing off Iron Man was stupid. I'm not like, that death shouldn't have happened. It was an emotional and it was a monumental ending for a character that we've had for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right. We often forget that, the MCU's been going on forever. Like, it feels like a blink of an eye in many ways. And in other ways, it's hard to remember a time before the MCU.
Yeah. With his passing, the MCU has an opportunity to actually use a really cool Riri Williams Ironheart storyline in which the AI that she has in her suit, she's got a Wakandan AI in her suit for this film, but the AI in her suit is a Tony Stark AI. Tony Stark maps in the comics. There's a huge arc where Tony Stark maps his subconscious or his consciousness and creates an AI. So he dies. Riri Williams becomes the new Iron Man, Ironheart, and Tony Stark essentially mentors her from the grave via this AI that he created before he passed on.
So there's a lot of potential. And I am maybe foolishly optimistic and hoping that the MCU will do it justice. But I am optimistic.
Yeah.
And I hope the Ironheart series is fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm not excited about the Ironheart show after this.
No,
I'll be honest.
It did you dirty.
I don't know Ironheart's origins in the comics, so I don't know how accurate it is to this.
Yeah,
but
I also don't care if it's accurate.
I do to a degree, but I mean, there are like going to the screen. Liberties can be taken, sure.
Yeah, but Hulk.
I just find her uninteresting. She's a super smart kid that made a suit. Whoopee. Like,
here's a question though.
Like, compare that to Tony Stark's origin, right? Like, Tony Stark, super smart dude, built an AI. Not Whoopi. He built a suit. He built a suit in a cave. Like, what's that monologue that his buddy makes at the end of the first? Tony Stark built this thing in a cave with spare parts. What's the matter with you? like
I'm not Tony Stark.
And then there's the whole alcoholism and dealing with PTSD and like Tony Stark as a character has layers and is just, there's a lot to go through and process, and like he's so there's complexity there.
So, but where's
the complexity with Riri Williams, especially with this this origin? There's no complexity.
Here's a question.
It's flat.
I'm not fully disagreeing, but here's a question. And it's not just a question for you. It's a question I've been pondering for myself. Is there a possibility, like, obviously at some point, if the MCU is going to live on and on and on and run for another at least 10 years, which maybe foolishly, but I hope it does. I hope this thing keeps going because I'm hooked. I'm in, and I'm, we don't like things to end. Is it possible? Like, if this thing's going to continue, at some point it was always going to have to change, right? Like in the comics, the lineup of the Avengers changes, right? Things change over time.
Yeah. Change is good.
Is it possible? And I've been asking myself this as well. Is it possible that after 15 years, we are as fans of the MCU, so reluctant to letting go of that core team. The original team were so reluctant to let go of Black Widow, Hawkeye, Captain America, Thor, Tony, and the Hulk, that we are in turn kind of doing ourselves dirty, because when the next lineup of Avengers show up, and who knows what that's going to look like, in theory it'll be Sam Wilson as Captain America. We'll probably have Shang-Chi in there. We'll have maybe Doctor Strange, but even Kevin Feige and Benedict Cumberbatch have come out and have said, like, Doctor Strange was never isn't actually officially an Avenger, right? Like, he's worked alongside the Avengers, but Doctor Strange isn't actually within the MCU. He's never actually been an Avenger.
Yeah,
but maybe he will be at this point. But maybe we'll see some Eternals characters show up. Maybe Ant-Man. We don't know if, I kind of have a theory that we're going to see some losses in Quantumania. Having seen, and we'll talk about this in the news next week, but I have a theory that we're going to see a lot of loss in the new Guardians movie after seeing that new trailer. So who knows what that lineup's going to look like, but inarguably, it is going to look a lot different than what we've seen it look like up until this point. And is it possible? A question I've been asking myself: is it possible that we've grown so attached to the lineup that we know and love, that as these new characters are being introduced and times are changing, things are changing, new characters are coming in, old characters are leaving, we're holding them to such a high, impossible standard that we are doing both the characters, the story, and ourselves dirty in the process by going, wow, yeah, it's Riri Williams and she built this suit and she's pretty cool, but she's no Tony Stark. She's no Iron Man, so she sucks.
That's you can't get away from that comparison because she is a legacy character. The comparison is going to happen no matter what you do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because you've chosen a legacy character. So I agree with you that most people, a lot of fans are going to like, they really like those first couple of phases of Marvel were amazing. They were great. And they've set the bar really high, and that core team is so iconic and people just want more of it. Agree. I'm fine with, like, okay, those stories, they're done.
Yeah.
Captain America story done, Iron Man story done. I don't need to see them again on the big screen unless it's like a full MCU reboot. Give me characters that haven't made it to the screen yet. Give me B team, C team, C tier heroes like the Guardians of the Galaxy. That was kind of a long shot bet. The Guardians at the time of the first movie release weren't a big bookseller. They were kind of like the B team, a C team that showed up in larger story arcs, or even if they even did it all. In this phase that we've gone through, we've gotten almost not completely, almost exclusively legacy characters. Riri Williams. We got She-Hulk. We got what's her name? Sister
new Hawk
Shuri as the new Black Panther, her. New Hawkeye.
We're
gonna get Ant-Man's daughter. Like, these are all the same, quote unquote, like essentially the same superhero, different person. The legacy characters. For me, in this phase, the characters that I'm most excited about are unique characters, unique power sets, unique storylines. Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi. That's like the show was a little goofy, but in terms of her character and the story, that's awesome. I'm excited to see more of that.
The show is goofy, but I think next to WandaVision, I think it's the best MCU show. Like,
it was
the best
good.
Disney Plus series we've got.
It wasn't what I was hoping for. I was probably hoping for something a little more serious, but like her story arc throughout that show was great. Shang-Chi. That was a phenomenal movie. New character, new power sets, like exploring more of the universe, and
even the Eternals, love them or hate that film. It's like, something new.
It's new stuff, new toys in the sandbox, like, and that's part of the reason why this film fell flat. It's like this, and we've talked about this. I think it was in the news. Like, they should have recast Black Panther. The whole dying and this, okay, but it didn't really work for me. The death in the morning and I would have rather seen them recast Black Panther.
Right.
Shuri stays Shuri. Keep Ironheart in the story. Sure. I think the whole story would have worked.
Okay. So
I don't know.
Let's move off of Ironheart. Cause we've been on that dead horse. Yeah. Let's talk about, so the film opens, obviously the opener, the intro to this film before the Marvel logo plays. We get, and I knew at some point they were going to have to deal with the question. They were going to have to answer the question of where is T'Challa.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I was surprised. I didn't know that they were going to deal with it right away. That was going to be the first time. Thing. No, and
they wrote him out so fast.
I'll be honest. I came. So you're saying it didn't work for you, that the death. And listen, up until this point, like, I've talked about it several times on the podcast. I've said they should have recast it. That's been my stance. Is that the actors serve the character, the character in the movies don't serve the actor.
Yeah.
Right? You recast, you move forward.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you honor what the person's done before by continuing their legacy.
Exactly.
Having said that, and I still believe that, but having said that, this opening sequence didn't succeed, but brought me very damn close to tears. Just because of the performance, just because of Shuri's response, her frantic dedication to trying to save her brother.
Yeah.
The severity of the situation that's presented to us.
Yeah, the acting was on point. That
was tough for me.
Yeah,
man, that whole opening scene.
The story as a whole fell flat for me.
Right. And that's fair. It worked for me, and it to me, I saw, whereas like Ironheart, I'm going to go back to Ironheart. Riri Williams is not taking up the mantle of Iron Man. She's not the new Iron Man. She's a painfully similar character, and hopefully they find ways within the MCU to separate that.
Yeah.
But she is technically her own character. What's her face is the new Hawkeye. It's the same mantle, different character.
Yeah.
Technically, Sam Wilson.
I think you're splitting hairs there.
Like, well, but I mean,
War Machine's as much Iron Man is War Machine.
Well, yeah, but
it's a person. It's a human being in a crazy advanced suit of armor.
Right. Well, okay. So,
there's not a lot of differentiation there.
So, but I ended up finding myself being okay with the idea of Shuri taking over the mantle.
That makes more sense because of the canon that they've of Black Panther being a mantle that's passed from leader to leader. And simply because I would have taken big issue if right out of the gate she was like, okay, well, we need a new Black Panther, and I guess that's me. But they didn't. She was so reluctant to take that mantle. Right. Yeah. Much of this film is about the idea of the Black Panther being like, her stance through much of this film is that is archaic and it's old and we're moving past that. And it's her coming to terms with the loss of her brother, that mourning period, and not wanting to let go of him. And like I said, the acting and the writing was great for it. But I feel like, I don't know. I wanted more Chadwick Boseman, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think we all did. But
yeah.
when even M'Baku is excited, relieved, celebratory about the fact that we have a Black Panther, that's exciting to me.
Yeah.
That's like that felt good. So that was good. Sort of piggybacking off of that opening scene. I'm going to jump ahead and talk about the post-credit scene. The post-credit scene, which isn't actually, so there's no like end of the credit scene, but there is a mid-credit scene.
Yeah, we're going to get into that later, I think.
You want to wait? We can wait. Let's wait.
Yeah.
So all this stuff happens, but let's talk about the character that fans have been talking about for a long time. We didn't know if he would come, when he would come, but we sure as hell wanted him to come in Namor.
Which have you ever heard anybody pronounce it that way before?
No, but it was with an accent. It was with his dialect. So I was just completely fine
Everybody
with
was calling him Namor though, not Namor.
No, other people called him Namor.
Did they?
No. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. He was the only person that called himself Namor. And maybe like the other
Okay.
I want to say Atlanteans, but I think there was like some legal issues here and they weren't allowed to call them Atlanteans. Because what did they end up calling they like made up a homeworld for him? Because in the comics, it's Atlantia, right? That's his thing.
He's from Atlantean, place of origin, Atlantis. Yeah.
Yeah, but in this, they had to change it. Yeah, I've got Wikipedia pulled up too. So Namor.
That doesn't bother me so much.
No, it didn't bother me at all. Because it's just a name. It doesn't matter.
The pronunciation thing felt weird for me. And kind of like, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, the TV show. It's amazing.
Okay.
It's a great show that treats its audience well. They did a live action of it, and literally everybody's name is pronounced horribly wrong in that live action.
Did they do a live action?
But they did. Unfortunately, it did happen, and the live action was horrible, and the pronunciations of everybody's name were completely wrong from the TV show. And it's just like, as somebody who loves the show, watching the movie, it's super jarring.
Yeah. Well,
going into the movie, I can't think of anybody or at any other point in time watching other animated movies and stuff like that with Namor in it that somebody called him Namor.
Yeah. So that's how he called himself.
It felt so off. I don't know. It's a small thing. It's not a huge deal, but like, come on, guys. Is it really that big of a deal that we can't just call him Namor?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was just an accent thing. I thought it was like a dialect because everyone else calls him Namor.
Other than that, the whole Namor, the character, the actor, the origin, all that stuff, I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. Namor felt like a real anti-hero, from the comics and stuff like that.
Talokan is the name of the kingdom that they came up with for.
I thought it was interesting that they pulled the vibranium into that kind of origin of those people. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a little weird. At one point I was like, okay, I'm watching a movie about a bunch of blue people that take place underwater. Did I accidentally buy tickets for Avatar 2?
Nope.
Nope. Just a bizarre coincidence.
No, I liked the Submariner storyline, and
Namor was fantastic in this.
Yeah,
fantastic. And I like the fact that they didn't kill him.
Yep.
Right, he lives. We might see more.
Yep.
So there's that. There's what is her name? Hang on, I gotta look this up because I don't want to butcher it. Who is the leader of their military group?
Namor's
Nakia?
Head dude?
No, the Wakandan one. Riri?
No, Riri is Ironheart.
No, Riri is Riri Wilson. No.
Okoye?
Okoye? Is that it?
Okoye.
Yes. Her sort of disembowelment. I enjoyed that.
Disembowelment?
And then she comes back. What? What'd you say?
You said she got disemboweled?
No, disemboweled. She gets removed. No.
The queen telling her to.
You watched a different film than I did. Yeah. No. She gets removed. She gets demoted. She gets canned.
More than demoted. She gets completely removed of all rank and stripped of title and
stripped of her rank. Yeah. And then comes back. Wait, so here's a question. It's arguably you're more fluent with the comics than I am. What is this suit that she's put in? Is that a comic book thing?
I don't know. I really don't. That was pretty new to me.
It was badass, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. There were 3 of them.
But I just don't. I'm like Googling it right now. Is there anything in the comics? No, but it was cool. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board. Like, here's an upgrade. Here's essentially a commitment to this character, right? That if you're going to give her a new suit and you're going to kind of like her name didn't change. It wasn't like, oh, okay, here's a new mantle. Her name didn't change. It wasn't like, oh, okay, now you're such and such a character. Oh, hang on. It looks like she might not even. Is she even in the comics? Or is she just is a fictional character, blah, blah, blah. First appearance. 1998. Okay, no, she's in the comics. But yeah, no, I was not familiar with or expecting this outfit. But it worked for me. I echoed her sentiments about it looking a little strange and, not being the sort of normal, cool, badass Wakandan thing that we're used to. But it worked. She owned it.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting, a parallel journey to kind of Riri's, where like she's very kind of set in the ancient ways, and where Riri, oh, sorry, not Riri, Shuri, Shuri is more kind of like set in the future, like looking to the future tech, and they kind of have this kind of parallel, like two railroad tracks running up alongside different railroad, not tie, but track, but they cross at some point where Okoye eventually is like, all right, let's try this tech stuff, and Shuri's like, all right, let's carry the mantle forward.
Yeah. Can we talk about I was not only in a car that I was not in a movie that I was not expecting to see it.
A car.
The action shots with the car, the Cuda, the like 1972 Cuda, Riri's father's car.
Yeah.
Which interestingly is the same car that Tony gives to Harley in Iron Man 3. The same model, not the same. It's not like the identical car. It's not like same paint job and everything. But I was like, I mean, that is my I don't know. That's my era. My favorite car of all time is the '69 Camaro, and this in year, in build, and everything is a very, very similar car. And so not only was I thrilled to see all of like the car chase and action sequences with it, but was brokenhearted when it ended up on its roof. I was like, oh, like I'm at, like, by no means am I a car snob, but it, like, yeah, when that happened, I was just like,
broke your heart a bit.
I was like, yeah, I came close to tears again. And then when it's restored at the end, I was like, oh. But then part of me, the like little inkling of car snob that is in me, of like late 60s, early 70s American muscle car snob that's in me. And Shuri's like, oh, I rebuilt it. And I'm like, well, but it's not the same car.
No, it is. It's every like, part.
Yeah.
Pulled up from the bottom of the river.
Yeah, but you would have had to have, like, but part of me was like, part of the story of this car is that like Riri fixed it up with her dad.
Yeah.
And now it's not the car that Riri fixed up with her dad. It's the car that Shuri rebuilt after it was, So I was just like, a little bit, I was like, well, yeah, still a badass car, but maybe some of the like specialness of it is like, has been tainted. But let's talk about humor. This was a funny movie. It was a funny movie, but it was not in your face funny. Like, there's enough scenes to make you laugh, but it's not a Thor Ragnarok. It's not a Thor Love and Thunder. Yeah. It's not trying to be a comedy, but it
like
it a lot maintains of that levity that the MCU has.
I feel like they used Martin Freeman as the butt of most of the jokes again. Like in the first Black Panther, Martin Freeman was essentially the butt of almost every joke. And they kind of leaned on him again.
Yeah. So let's talk about the fact that Everett Ross, Martin Freeman's character, has been revealed as the ex-husband of Val, whatever it is, Lal Fontina of DeFrost's character, the character that's been teased to us several times now, like the end of at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And where else did she show up? She showed up somewhere else.
She showed up at the end of Black Widow. Which
did she? Oh, in the post-credit scene. Yeah, the post-credit scene.
Legacy characters.
Yeah. So, yeah, that for me was, I was blindsided by that. That wasn't something I was expecting. I don't know if it has any real implications moving forward. Like, I don't know that it matters.
If anything, it just shows the kind of the power and cleverness and that she has, right? Like, she knew the whole time, like, she planted the beads for Everett Ross to find. She's been listening in on all of his conversations.
Well, it just creates a fun dynamic.
She's been playing him. Like, she's no fool. She's a powerful woman. Gets what she wants.
Really interesting to see moving forward. Like, so the only upcoming confirmed credit that we have in the MCU for her, for Valentina Allegra Dalfontein, is in 2024 in the Thunderbolts movie. But obviously she's going to play a bigger role moving forward. Here's a weird question for you, and maybe this has already been answered, and maybe it hasn't. Maybe I'm just being stupid. Everett Ross, Martin Freeman's character, any relation to Thunderbolt Ross? Same last name.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't even know if he's a comic book pull-in.
Well, character up here.
Everett Ross, apparently he
Everett
is.
K. Ross. First appearance, 1998. Yeah, he's in the comics. Publication history. Fictional character biography. Everett Ross, blah, blah, blah. As a child, I don't see anything about him being the son of... Maybe it's just like... But that just seems weird, doesn't it? That he would have the same last name?
Yeah, I don't know.
World security, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't see anything about him being the son of Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, though. Martin Freeman is all of a sudden Harrison Ford's son. For those who don't know, Harrison Ford has been cast to replace Thunderbolt Ross after... what is his name? Who's the actor that played Thunderbolt Ross before and has passed away?
I just Googled Everett Ross related to General Ross, and it says they're not. They're not. Two characters with the same last name, which is odd for
like, come on, Stan.
Canon.
What are you doing, Stan?
Anyway, yeah.
The late great Stan, but I mean, William Hurt. William Hurt was the actor that was important to me, that we paid him his dues. It was the actor that has played Thunderbolt Ross in Black Widow, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Captain America Civil War, and I think nothing before that except for The Incredible Hulk. I think. But,
Anyway. Do you have any other notes, or do we want to go on to the end credit?
I want to get to the end credit scene. Listen.
Okay.
The opening of this film got me close to tearing up. I teared up during the post-credit scene. I know you said it didn't work for you and that you were let down by it, you felt cheated, so on and so forth. But listen.
The post-credit scene was cool. Having gone through the journey of the movie presented,
she needed to burn her garments.
Yeah, that was a really cool kind of capstone for the movie and a cool reveal. I thought that worked for the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
here's the interesting thing, though. One of the issues I had through this whole film well, not through the whole film, from the third act, was she just took the mantle of Black Panther to fight Namor. Sounds wrong saying it. Namor. She fought Namor, people, not Namor. Namor. Anyway, so, but the title is something that's earned through trial of combat.
Right. There's a procedure to follow.
Yeah, which they kind of like. The movie ends, and one of the last scenes before the credits start rolling, and we get our post credit scene, is M'Baku stepping out and saying, "Shuri's not here. I challenge for the title."
Yeah,
does
what's
that mean
up with that?
M'Baku's going to be Black Panther moving forward?
I don't think so.
There's this huge cliffhanger question.
I don't think so. Yeah, it is a cliffhanger, obviously, and it's meant to be.
And in one-on-one combat, I'm sure he could probably hold her own, but against M'Baku, I don't think so. M'Baku's a big man. Shuri is not that capable of a fighter.
No. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is like part of the procedure is that the power of the Black Panther will be stripped from her. Like it's a straight on fist to fist mortal.
Fight. So that whole thing is like, I wonder what they're going to do with the Black Panther mantle moving forward, because
I hope not.
That kid is too young to be Black Panther. One.
Who, Shuri?
No. T'Challa's son.
Kid? Oh yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Right. So, essentially, we're left with who's black. The same question that this movie started off posing is who's going to be Black Panther now that T'Challa's gone.
Yeah, I like Shuri as an option. I hope that Shuri stays Black Panther. I don't know. I don't want M'Baku, the leader of the gorilla people. is
I don't
essentially.
know. I think that would be cool if he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I just like him as his own character.
M'Baku would be cool. They've set it up in my mind that M'Baku's going to be the new Black Panther.
Yeah. I don't know so this post-credit scene, when it was like, okay, this is cool and it's important. Like, we're getting to see her burn the garments. It's kind of closure from the scene that she had with her mother. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then what's her face? Who was T'Challa's girlfriend? Yeah, what was her name?
Ayo? No, it wasn't Ayo. It was
I closed my IMDb. How stupid am I?
I'm
Black
looking at it.
Panther, Wakanda forever.
Ramonda?
The badass girl from what country was she hiding out in?
Everybody knows who we're talking about. They've seen the movie.
Ramonda. Yeah. She brings out her and T'Challa's son.
Yeah.
And without saying anything, Shuri, this post-credit scene was played perfectly because Shuri is processing and she's going on such an emotional roller coaster that we're going on with her just by watching it. And I was welling up. I was like, Shuri is looking at her brother, who she has so much love for, who she's mourned the loss of, who she misses dearly. She's looking at his bloodline,
his legacy,
his son, his legacy.
Yeah,
a mini him.
Yeah,
and I was welling up.
It was a great scene.
And then I was like, I'm like, this scene has wrecked me. And I don't know how much more wrecked I could possibly get. And then
I have a secret.
His son reveals that his Wakandan name is T'Challa. That he is Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. And dude, I lost it.
It was good.
For a character, Black Panther, for T'Challa, who I've been like, yeah, he's a cool character, but I didn't love the first movie. I'm not like a huge Black Panther person. I found myself so emotionally invested and shook to my core in the most amazingly emotional way. It may not be the biggest like, oh, look what's coming post-credit scene or oh my gosh, what does this mean really post-credit scene? No. But having said that,
it was impactful.
It was, of all the post-credit scenes from all the Marvel movies I've ever seen, this was the one that I walked out of going, that was perfect.
I just had a really interesting thought.
Because wait. Because the whole time I'm like, because this post-credit scene is followed by the moment that I was waiting for. Throughout this whole thing, I was like, is it going to happen at the beginning? Is it going to happen right at the beginning of the credits? Is it going to, like, when is it going to happen? But all of this happens, right? The reveal of T'Challa Jr. and all of this stuff, and then the screen goes black, and it's set in, and the white writing comes up on the screen for our friend Chadwick Boseman. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I was just like, I was a mess, man. And like in the most surprising way. Because again, like I said, these weren't characters that prior to now I was super emotionally invested in. But, and I think for me, that was like, you know, like I said, I'm giving this film a positive review overall, despite some issues I have. One of them being, and I didn't mention this, but one of them being like it's about a 3-hour film, and I don't know particularly what I would have cut, but it feels like it runs at times it feels like it has a pacing issue. Like it was about 20 minutes longer than I needed it to be. It felt a little dragged out for me. But and having said that, I don't have any suggestions. I don't know what I would have cut. But for a film that I wasn't all that interested in, and a film that I wasn't all that interested in about characters that I wasn't all that interested in, and I certainly wasn't emotionally invested in, this film, I think one of one of the trophies that it can put up on its wall is that it took a story, it took a group of characters, it took a mantle that I ultimately didn't care a whole lot about, and made me cry, and made me elevated it in my level of characters that I care about and stories that I care about to a whole new level that I wasn't expecting, that I wasn't anticipating. And moving forward, I want to go into all MCU movies not caring. because it can only possibly go up. It can either meet the expectation I have, or it can catch me off guard and take me by surprise. What's your theory, though? I'm so curious.
What's my what? Oh, the theory.
You said you have an interesting theory.
As you were talking there, we were talking about the end credit scene. It just kind of hit me as an interesting kind of thought experiment as to what she said that her and T'Challa talked and they decided to raise him outside of Wakanda. And it just struck me.
Give him a normal life.
It struck me that that's the reason she said, but it struck me that like T'Challa's a smart dude. It struck me that just now that maybe another reason he would have had to do that is to give him like a quote unquote normal life, not as a prince, but also to see what the real world is like before he goes into this. He rules this fantasy up, like kind of taking it back, essentially kind of taking it back to the antagonist of Wakanda, Black Panther 1 with Killmonger. And kind of like he grew up outside of Wakanda and he had kind of eyes for the real world is messy. Wakanda's got it good. And at the end, Black Panther 1 ended with Black Panther kind of seeing Killmonger's point of view and opening the borders of Wakanda to lend aid to the rest of the world and where it sees fit.
Yeah.
So kind of raising the son in the real world to kind of give him those eyes and heart for the real world. I don't know.
Because ultimately,
kind of little fan theory there.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, he is heir to the throne.
Yeah.
Right? He is T'Challa's heir.
It would be cool little Easter egg fan theory there.
Yeah.
I got one more thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, hit me with it. Right across the face.
Two more things.
Hit me in the nads with it, man.
The first is I have another beef with this film, and I just remembered it while you were talking as well. Did the Atlanteans not feel completely unnatural and out of their element underwater?
Because of what? Because of how easily they moved through the water?
No, because
it didn't seem like they were swimming?
Because they seemed like human beings trying to swim and live underwater. They didn't seem like human beings who have been living underwater for for generations and had adapted to it.
I mean, it's hard to say.
They're like breaststroking and barely going anywhere. And it's like,
the film did try to paint a clear line, like a divider between Namor and the rest of them, right? That they're not, like, not only obviously are they not on the same level power wise, but that they are,
but even
in some ways, of different origins.
Even
because Namor moves through the water. No, he moved through the water gracefully.
Unless he's using those currents that even Shuri used. He's swimming awkwardly like everyone else.
Well, dude, even fish gotta swim, man.
It bothered me every time there was an underwater scene. It was just, I was like, they don't look like they live here.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't relate. It never, honestly, as I was watching it, I was like, dude, he's like, it was almost the opposite for me. I was like, he's moving through the water too easily. But then I was like, oh, well, but he's like, this is his thing. This is his world. So yeah, I didn't pick up on it.
Yeah. I thought they looked unnatural. Well, I mean, it looked natural as in they were human beings under the water swimming because they're actors under the water swimming in a pool while this film's being shot. But it looked unnatural in that these don't seem like Atlanteans that have been living under the water for hundreds of years and have adapted to it. Like
I've never met one, so in real life. So
like where are their webbed feet and webbed hands and that help them move quicker? I don't know. My other second,
you're in the wrong business, man. You got to be in movies. You should be an advisor.
Yeah. Somebody hire me. Disney, hit me up. I got great ideas. Anyway, my second thing, and this one was it's not a game breaker, but I felt cheated. So we got a mid-credit scene with that we've already talked about, but there is no post-credit scene. I sat through all the credits. And the lights came on, and I was like, what the hell? And I turned around, and there's one other couple sitting behind me, and they give me the same look I have on my face. They're like, I don't know, man. I'm like, well, I feel cheated. And the guy's like, yeah, they've led us to believe that there should be something at the end of the credits, and we didn't get it.
So I
felt cheated.
I knew that there wasn't going to be any more than the mid-credit scene because it was almost going to be a news story that you and I talked about, but then I figured, it's not actually newsworthy. Like, I don't know if it's a big enough deal. So I, admittedly, I could have saved you from the wait. I knew that there was just the mid-credit scene going into it. And the director of the film, the makers of the film, said that the reason why there isn't a little tag at the end setting up something else or doing whatever was because the end of this film is very much a tribute, a signing off, a love letter to Chadwick Boseman, and they wanted to just leave it at that. They didn't want to tack anything else onto the end. It was like, it felt like cracking a joke or throwing something else at the end of a eulogy. And it just didn't, there was no way to do that and make it feel
right,
tasteful.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I also see your perspective where
I have been conditioned by Marvel to sit through the credit, the pre-credits, after the film to watch the mid-credit scene and to sit through the entire credits to watch it. So when it didn't show up, I felt cheated.
Well, it's your own damn fault.
It's a very small thing, right? Like it's not something I need. It's not something I'm owed by them. But,
well, listen, just
being
because every
conditioned to sit through, like there was only like 6 or 7 people in the theater when I watched it. For half of those people to sit through all of the credits and go, what happened when it finished I can't have been the only one to feel cheated.
Listen, just because up until this night every Tuesday has been Taco Tuesday doesn't mean that every Tuesday is going to be Taco Tuesday. And if you
tell that to my daughter, we stopped doing Taco Tuesdays and she almost lost it.
Were you doing Taco Tuesdays? Was that an actual thing?
We were having tacos for a long time. And
every week? Once a week?
Yeah. It's actually pretty easy to throw together. We're not tacos. We do more like burritos. We like the soft shell wraps.
Yeah, okay. But so here's a question for you.
It's just a little meat, some salsa, some pepper.
But I'm going to call you out here as your friend, as your friend for like 14 years at this point. I'm going to let's get real. If you're like me, and I know you are, how many tacos do you eat on Taco Tuesdays?
The last couple times we did it, I only had one.
Okay, but normally, if you're on your A game and you're eating as much as you want to eat, how many tacos are you eating on Taco Tuesday?
These aren't like tacos. These are like more like burritos.
Okay, so they're like big ass burritos.
Yeah, they get the big tortilla shell burrito.
Right. So you're eating a lot of taco on Taco Tuesday.
There's quite a bit there. Yeah.
Yeah. And how's your belt line looking? As bad as mine?
Well, my wife's pregnancy, so I'm putting on the sympathy weight.
It's just, okay. But either way, if you're like me, doing away with Taco Tuesday is not the worst idea in the world.
Yeah.
We stopped doing regular pizza nights. We used to make our own pizza like all the time, and I'm like,
yeah, we were doing that.
Let's switch
pizzas Fridays and
veggie
tacos
night.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, I'm like, let's switch to veg. Let's have broccoli Mondays. Let's just introduce some, maybe some fish. Let's eat fish.
We're eating a lot more fish.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, sir. Listen, on a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rank? However you pronounce that word. How would you rank Black Panther, Wakanda Forever?
For me, I think it's going to be a solid 6.5. And not horrible, Not amazing.
Above average. Five sort of being like middle of the road. Yeah, leave it or take it.
Above average. You know, like I wasn't happy with the storyline they chose, but the storyline was well written. The acting was phenomenal. They're dealing with legacy characters, which is troublesome to begin with, in my opinion. So all that taken into account, they did a good job. It was good.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Good night.
All right. See you.
What did you give it?
I give it a 7.5, so a little bit above you.
Yeah.
But I think again, what nudged it up for me was that it took characters that I didn't care about and made me care about them. You know, which is a win any day of the week. So yeah, 7.5. It was, for me, it was better than the first. And maybe not the best entry in phase 4, but definitely not the worst. And a solid one that sets up the universe moving forward, asks some questions, answers some questions, keeps me guessing, keeps me excited, sets up the Ironheart series in a way that I'm skeptical but optimistic. And I mean, it made me cry. And anytime you make me cry, you get a couple of notches, you know, just for that. So yeah, 7.5 all in all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, listen, thank you for listening to this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed Black Panther, but listen, this is just what we thought of it. This is our praises and our gripes, but we want to know what you think. And the best way to do that is either reaching out to us on Facebook, or if you have something to say either about this movie or just, you know, you want to say something to us in general, like screw you guys, or you guys are awesome, or what the hell, why is Carl a part of this podcast now, get rid of him, or Carl should replace Brady, this is, you know, like whatever it is, hit us up at themoviemenpodcast@gmail.com. We'll reply. Doesn't matter what you send, we'll reply. You might not like our reply.
Brady, though. He literally does 90% of the work. Pete and I just show up.
I am the podcast. But yeah, so pumping my own tires. Yeah, check out our Facebook, Patreon, Instagram pages down below. Our Patreon page is not only a great way to support the show, show us that you love us, keep the lights on, help us pay for all of the costs associated with running a podcast, which is actually a lot more than you would think it is. But it's also a great way to get some fun perks. We drop some every so often. We record video of us doing an episode, and we'll post a video of that on our Patreon page. Also, if you're new to or familiar with the Movie Men podcast, one of the ways that we regularly run our show is by posting options of movies for you to vote on and tell us what it is that we're going to review and watch. We put the power in your hands, and supporting us on Patreon at different various tiers is a good way to boost your voting power. Make your votes count as more. Carl does it.
I do.
Carl's votes are worth more than the average Joe, which is maybe like a moral.
And it's not just because I'm on the show.
Yeah. No, you've been doing that since before you were on. Honestly, when you joined the show, we're like, shit, man, are we going to lose Carl as a Patreon supporter? But he's been too dumb to cancel, so we're not going to bring it up or mention it to him. But yeah, check that out. Also, check out our merch page. It is not too late to add some additional things to your Christmas shopping list.
Get some stocking stuffers.
Yeah, get some stocking stuffers, man. Or even, you know, maybe in the next couple of days we'll drop Movie Men branded stockings on the, you know, maybe you're looking at your stocking and you're like, man, this thing's old as shit. Need a new one.
Cool.
That'd be so wicked, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'll look into that. But check out all those things, and like, comment, and follow us wherever it is that you've happened to stumble upon our podcast. Positive reviews obviously help us out. Negative reviews obviously do the opposite. But hey, a review is a review. You know, all
Be
press
honest.
is good press or something. Yeah. Yeah. If you didn't like this episode for whatever reason, and that reason was Carl, make sure you indicate that in the review. Don't just say, "Oh, this episode was shit." Say, "This episode was shit and Carl sucks monkey butt." Because then, then we'll know that I'm not the problem, and that will inflate my ego. And that's ultimately, that's all I care about. And then Carl will just quit. And then Pete and I will beg him to come back, and, the circle of life will continue. Mm-hmm. But yeah, thank you. And thank you, Carl, for going out and watching you were going to go see this movie.
I was going to go see it anyway.
Yeah, it was good.
I was going to see it one way or another.
Yeah, we got a lot of fun things coming up. This week coming up, Carl and I are going to obviously do our weekly movie news show. But we're also going to talk about two special things, one being the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Yeah.
We're also going to finally get around and talk about the, much to me, not only somewhat disappointing, but the misguided and didn't understand what it should have been, Tales of the Jedi from Star Wars. So there's a little teaser about what I think of it. I think it was almost... You and
Pete just dropped your next series, too. You guys started Mission Impossible.
We just started Mission Impossible. That's up now, yeah, with special guest Zach Dykstra. Or Dijkstra? Ooh. Dykstra. So that was interesting. Yeah, we're going to work towards the upcoming Mission Impossible, whatever it's called, Part 1. The new one coming out. Can't remember what it's called, but they're doing like a Part 1, Part 2 thing. They're Hunger Gamesing it. So we're doing that. We're going to do a little bit of coverage for the upcoming National Treasure show, Pete and I. And most importantly, this Sunday, Pete and I are going to rank our top 5 Christmas movies. So that's something you're not going to want to miss.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, Jingle All the Way is not on the list. I don't think it's on either of our lists.
It's too bad.
I apologize.
That's too bad. What about Christmas Chronicles?
I can't let all the cats out of the bag, man.
All right, I'll have to watch or listen.
Yeah, whatever it is you do.
Or sit outside the door and put a cup to it.
Yeah. Hold a glass up to the keyhole and see if it helps.
Yeah.
You hear any better. Say something witty to send us off.
We just did.
That's fair. I can't argue with that.